All right. So in the last class, we saw this. We finished the analysis of the uh, three-sat algorithm, right? And we saw how the you can think of this Markov chain um, as this transition matrix, and algebraically you can think of this algorithm and its analysis as saying that you take the vector say 100, which is the where 1 is the starting point, right? It's a vector which denotes the starting point of your random walk, and if you take say power the transition matrix, then that gives you the transition probabilities when you have a uh, so p to the k, where p is the transition matrix, gives you the probabilities for a k step random walk on that Markov chain, right? And so this is where we are currently. And what we'll do now is we'll look at a few more properties of properties and definitions of Markov chains, and then we will look at the properties of random walks on graphs, arbitrary graphs. Right? So you can think of 2-sat and 3-sat as analyzing random walks of a particular type, right? Random walks on this fixed, these two fixed graphs. So now what we will do is we will look at certain definitions for Markov chains, and then we will extend this idea to look at random walks on arbitrary graphs, right? So let's start with some properties of. So we are always interested in finite Markov chains, right? So in this case, we will say, so you have um, states of this Markov chain. So we'll say that two states I and j of the Markov chain are communicating, right? If if you take the probability of going from I to j, right, with the t step random walk, right? This is uh, greater than zero, right? So there exists t such that, right? There exists this t such that pij is greater than zero, say t1, and there exists a t2 such that pji t2 is greater than zero. Right? So if you take, there are these T1 and T2 such that you can actually go from the state I to the state J by a random walk, right? By as this Markov chain evolves. Right? So that is what is known. So if that happens for two states, then we say that the two states of the Markov chain are communicating. And in particular, for a finite Markov chain, this is equivalent to saying that the state space digraph of the Markov chain is strongly connected. Right? If there is a path from I to j in the state space graph, it means that there is, if as the Markov chain evolves, there is a non-zero probability for going from state I to state j. Right? Similarly, strongly connected. What does strongly connected mean? It means that for every pair ij, so maybe not strongly connected, in the state space of the Markov chain, there exists a path from I to j and j to I. Right? So if there is a path, then you know that the Markov chain has a non-zero probability for going from that state I to state j. Correct? Similarly, the other way, right? So two states are communicating if in the graph, directed graph, there are paths in both directions, right? And we will say that a Markov chain is irreducible. Right? We'll call a Markov chain irreducible if every pair of states are communicating. Right? So if for every pair of states they are communicating, then we call the Markov chain as irreducible. Right? The name comes because if you think of it as a finite graph, what it says is that the state space graph is strongly connected. Right? So such Markov chains are called irreducible Markov chains. So if you look at the corresponding state space graph, then that is strongly connected. Then you say that the Markov chain is irreducible. Right? Now, so now if you take a random walk on a Markov chain, you can think about where do these random walks end up in the limit, right? That is typically the questions that are usually asked when we study Markov chains, right? So with respect to that, we say that a state is recurrent it will say that a state is recurrent if you keep revisiting that state, right? What does that mean? So to define this recurrence, let's call this let's define this value, right? So if so informally what it means that if the Markov chain returns to the state infinitely often, you keep returning to it. So formally what it means is that you can define this returning probability, you can define this probability Rij which is the probability that in the tth step the Markov's chain is in state J, right? And this is the first time it has reached J, right? So for all t prime less than t, x t prime is not equal to J, right? When you start a random walk from I. So this says that, this means that the random walk starts at I, right? And the first time it reaches J is at time t. Okay, so this is the probability Rij and recurrence, right? What does so recurrence means that, right? What it means is that look at the probability of the random walk returning to I, right? For some after some number of steps, this is equal to 1, right? At some finite point in the future, the random walk will always return to the vertex. So that is if a state has this property, then we say that the state is a recurrent state, right? Similarly, you have the notion of a transient state, right? So a transient state is one where the sum is less than 1. Right? So it's not that you can keep repeating. You don't have this. You are not certain to visit that state again if you leave it once. Right? For instance, if you look at the Markov chain corresponding to that random walk on that the graph, which was just a path, right? So you had these vertices, and then you had this probability 1. There was this probability half, right? And there was, if you want to define it as a proper Markov chain, what you have is something like a vertex which is 1, right? So once you enter this vertex, then you're just stuck there. You can never get out, right? So this is what you want. So this is like a recurrent state. So once you enter into this state, this is a recurrent state for this Markov chain, right? And these are all transient states. Right? These are all transient because you don't keep visiting that state over and over again, right? Once you enter into that recurrent state, you just end up there. So you could think of recurrent states as we are not formally proving any of this, right? We are not going to prove any theory for Markov chains. We'll just briefly mention it, right? So these are like strongly connected components of the graph. Not exactly, but right. Okay. So if you take, rather what you want to say is that if you take a strongly connected component of the graph, either every state is a recurrent state or every state is a transient state, right? Because of the strong connectivity, if you are in one state which is recurrent, then you can reach any other state, and from that state you can actually come back as well, right? That is the idea. It's not a formal proof, but that is the idea. So every vertex in a strongly connected component of the graph is a recurrent. If one of them is a recurrent state, then everything is a recurrent state. If one is a transient state, yeah, right. So transient states are ones where you might not come back again, right? If you can get, you can leave that vertex, and then you might not come back, or you might leave that state and you might not come back again, right? So there's only some probability for reaching. You're not sure that you will come back. So any questions so far? Right. So we're just going over some definitions before we come to the main result that we want to look at and its applications. Any questions so far? Yeah. Okay. So we will say, so related to recurrent states, we will say that a state is positive recurrent. Okay. We will call a state as positive recurrent if the following happens. Okay, so we look at, so to define positive recurrence, let's look at the following thing. Let's look at, so you have this random walk. How long does it take for the random walk to come back to itself, right? So a recurrent state tells you that after some amount of time, you have to actually return back to the state itself. So now let's look at how much time does it take for you to return back. Okay, so so for that, we will just define what is known as the first hitting time. Okay, so what this tries to measure is how long does it take for a random walk to go from I to J. For instance, right? I and J are two states. How long does it take for it to grow from I to J? Right. So this is this Hij is this expectation, right? So it's expected time to reach uh, to first reach J from I, right? So this is nothing but summation over T Rij T, right? T greater than or equal to 1 when I and J are different. Okay. So this is the hitting time, right? If you're going from what is the expected time to reach J from I the first time, right? When you start a random walk from I. Right? And we will say that a state is, so we'll say that a state I is positive recurrent okay, we'll say the state is positive recurrent if Hi comma I is less than infinity. Okay. So the thing is, we just had to state this definition, but what you can say is that if the Markov chain is irreducible and finite, right, then every state is actually positive recurrent. Okay. So the only way in which a recurrent state is not positive recurrent is only when you have an infinite Markov chain, right? But so even though we have defined this in a very general sense, in all the chains that we will see, it will always be, if it is recurrent, it's always going to be positive recurrent. In particular, if your Markov chain is irreducible and finite, what does that mean? It means that your Markov chain can be drawn as a directed graph which is strongly connected. Then every state is positive recurrent, right? Which means that the expected time to reach that state back when you start a random walk from that state is the expected time is some constant which is less than infinity, right? Okay. And in particular, so for every finite irreducible Markov chain, every state is positive recurrent. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So the next property of this Markov chain that we will look at is what is known as periodicity. So we will say that a state J, okay, is periodic if there exists an integer delta, right, such that if this happens, right, if the such that the probability of x s plus t is equal to j, given that xt is equal to j, right? So at time t you are in j, and in time t plus s, say, t plus s, and at time t plus s is equal to also you are in j, right? This probability is 0 unless s is divisible by delta. Right. So what it says is that if you're starting from t, then if you're starting from j at time t, the probability that you get back to t again, it's in a sort of cycle. You keep just it happens always at a fixed, after a fixed number of steps, right? For instance, if your Markov chain is something like this, right? Maybe I should right. So say for instance, you always right, it's a very very weird example, right? Say you're always shifting, right? At this is a Markov chain, right? For instance, you're always moving in one direction or the other, right? You're always moving from vertex, say, v1 to v2, right? So you know that in every if you want to say that you are in v1, you know that you have done even number of steps, right? Oh, sorry, or yeah, even number of steps. If you start from a from a state and you want to get back to that state, you know that you have done an even number of steps, right? So the number of steps have to be divisible by 2 for this right, for this probability to be non-zero, right? So if there are states which are periodic, which means that you come back to it only after a fixed multiple of some number, right, of that time step, then you say that the state is periodic, right? And Markov chain is said to be aperiodic if every state is aperiodic. A state is aperiodic if it is not periodic. And if the Markov chain is said to be aperiodic, if every state in that Markov chain is actually aperiodic. Okay. So you might be able to guess, right? I mean, for instance, we will see that aperiodicity, when it comes in certain cases, when you look at random walks on graphs, aperiodicity will correspond to bipartiteness, right? So because bipartiteness is basically saying that, you know, at every even after even number of steps, you only after even number of steps can you get back to the same vertex. You cannot get back before that, right? So that is what periodicity is capturing. Yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
Hello. Yes, sir. Sir, in this definition of a state being periodic, this unless S is divisible by delta means like if S is divisible by delta, then it's 1, else it's 0, like, right?
So, I mean, it's not that if S is divisible by, you cannot be sure that you'll always get, for every S divisible by delta, you will not reach there. That is not possible for the random walk. But you will not reach there in any other time, right? Whenever you reach there, it will be after a fixed period of time. Okay. It will be a multiple of delta. Right? You can't be sure that you'll always see. Since it's a random walk, you can always be sure that after delta steps, you will reach J again. Right?
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that if you have reached J again, then you have spent some K times delta steps. The random walk has run for K times delta steps, where K is some integer. That's what we'll say. Right?
Okay.
That's what it's saying. You cannot be sure that after delta steps, you will always end up there. That is not possible. But if you're ending up there, you can be sure that it is some K times delta. That's what it says.
Fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the reason why these are all interesting is because of a particular some properties of Markov chain. So you have a Markov chain and you let it evolve over time, right? And at the end of that, so if you take a finite Markov chain, you have a what you have is a directed graph of the state space, and the evolution of the Markov chain, you know, corresponds to some corresponds to a random walk on this graph, right? Now you can ask the following question, right? So what if you start a random walk from a certain particular vertex, and you keep doing this random walk? So each step of the random walk defines a probability distribution over the vertices of the over the states of this Markov chain, right? So let me just write this out. So every step of the Markov chain right defines a probability distribution over the states of the Markov chain, right? In particular, you can think of it as follows, right? So in this case, so say you have this graph, right? Say look at the graph corresponding to the 2-set instance itself, right? So initially, say you start your random walk from this vertex here. Initially, the probability distribution is 1 and 0, 0, and so on, right? Everything is 0. At the next step, you have a probability distribution which is 0, 1, 0, and so on, right? Because you're always taking this edge. The third step, you have a probability distribution where you have half on the first vertex, 0 on the second vertex, half on the third vertex, and so on, right? The fourth step, what happens? What will be the probability distribution on the fourth step? Zero, half, 1/4, 1/4, right? So you are in vertex 1. So you have what is the probability that you are in state 2? You have probability 1 of yeah, okay. So this can happen in two ways, right? So you are more likely to end up in vertex 2, right? Because with probability half, you are in vertex 1, and with probability 1, you will go there. Or with probability half, you are in vertex 3, and with probability half, you will go to 2, right? So therefore, what you have is um, half plus 1/4, right? You have a probability of 3/4 to end up in vertex 2, right? Because you might be here with probability half, in which case with probability 1 you will end up here, or you might be here with probability half, in which case with probability half you will end up in 2, right? So that is 3/4, right? And you don't have a probability of ending up in 3 at all, because there is, if you're in 3, then you will always move, right? Or if you're in 1, you will always move to 2, so that is 0. And if you are in 2, if you're in 3, then you have so with probability half you will be in 3, in which case with probability half you will move to 4, right? So this is the distribution, right? So each step of the random walk defines some distribution over the over this graph, right? So one question that you can ask is, as this random walk progresses, as this Markov chain evolves, what can you say about the distribution of this the distribution that you get, right? Does it have certain properties, right? So to understand this, so if the Markov chain is nice, then this distribution has some certain nice properties, okay? So to define that, let's define this notion of a stationary distribution. Okay. So what is a stationary distribution? So let P be the transition matrix of the Markov chain. Right? Let P be the transition matrix of the Markov chain. Now we say that a distribution pi, right, is said to be the stationary distribution right of the Markov chain. You call it the stationary distribution of the Markov chain if, suppose you start with that distribution, okay? You start with the distribution pi, and you take one step of the random walk, right? You make one you take one step of the Markov chain, then the resultant distribution is pi itself, right? So what it's saying is that you starting with pi, take one step of the Markov chain, then the resulting distribution remains the same. Right? So it's sort of like a stationary distribution. It's sort of an equilibrium. After this, the Markov chain, even if it keeps running, the ultimate distribution over the states remains the same. Okay. So such a distribution is known as a stationary distribution. It's like an equilibrium for this Markov chain. Right? And one of the key questions that you ask is, given a Markov chain, when does it have a stationary distribution? How long does it take to reach the stationary distribution, right? Do you attain the stationary distribution, and so on, right? And so the question of whether even such a distribution exists requires the Markov chain to have certain nice properties, and this is why we defined all those terms earlier, right? So let's look at this very fundamental theorem about Markov chains, right? I don't know whether it's called fundamental theorem, but let's call it fundamental theorem of Markov chains. Right? Any finite irreducible, right? Aperiodic Markov chain, right, has the following properties. So if your Markov chain is irreducible, right, it's finite, which means that there is a directed graph. It is irreducible, which means that it is strongly connected. Aperiodic means that you don't have you don't have vertices where you have just a loop connecting it of some length, so that you keep, whenever you whenever you want to reach there, you would have spent some fixed multiple of some time step to reach there, right? That is what periodic means. Aperiodic means that you don't have such property. If this happens, then the following conditions hold, right? There is a unique stationary distribution pi for the Markov chain. Right, so which means that there is this unique pi such that pi times p is equal to pi. Right, that stationary distribution is unique. Right. Secondly, for every j and I, okay, the limit as t tends to infinity, p j comma I to the t, right? This exists and is independent of j. Right? What does this say? It tells you that take any state in the Markov chain, right? You run a sufficiently long random walk, irrespective of where you start this random walk with, the probability that you will end up in the state I will be the same, right? There is a limiting probability for this random walk for ending up in I, and that is somehow independent of where you started this random walk from, right? You could have started it from vertex 1, 2, 3, 4, even I. Doesn't matter where you started from. The limiting probability of this random walk after t steps to end up in I is a value that is independent of j, right? It's not a function of j. It's completely independent, right? So that is what the second statement is saying, right? It's a very strong statement, right? It doesn't matter. So if you notice this graph, in the two-side graph, we started with a distribution where you were starting from one vertex and then you started evolving, right? What this theorem states is that if your Markov chain is finite, irreducible, and aperiodic, which is not the case for that two-set Markov chain, okay, right? Because it is not irreducible, right? It's not strongly connected because there is one component where you can just keep looping, right? So, but if you have a finite, irreducible, and aperiodic Markov chain, then this limiting probability of reaching a vertex I after t steps is independent of where you started out from, right? And more specifically, this quantity, right, this limit, right, this is actually the value corresponding to the stationary distribution. So stationary distribution pi, I can write it as pi 0, pi 1, right? It's a distribution. For every vertex, there is some value of reaching there. And this limit is actually equal to the limiting probability, the probability given by the stationary distribution, right? And it's also the inverse of the hitting time, right? So recall that hitting time was the expected time to reach I. When you start a random walk from I, what is the expected time to get back? And this is actually the inverse of that expectation, right? So if you want to think about it, right, so we had if you recall some of the statements, we said that if there is a event with probability p, then the expected number of steps before that happens is like 1 over p. This statement is saying something similar, right? Pi I is the limiting probability of reaching I, irrespective of where you start the random walk from. And the hitting time, so you can look at what happens when do you reach I when you start your random walk from I. And the limiting probability is pi I, therefore the hitting time is 1 over pi I. That's what this seems to be saying, right? Pi I is that limiting probability. You run this, if you run the random walk for sufficiently long time, then irrespective of where you start out from, the probability of reaching I is pi I, right? And HII is the expected time to return to I when you start a random walk from I. Right? You know that pi I is the probability of reaching I if you take a sufficiently long random walk. So it seems it's what this says is HI is actually the inverse of that probability, something which is not hard to believe. We have seen similar statements. Correct? We are not going to prove the statement, okay? But is the statement clear to you? Any questions regarding this statement? We will not prove this theorem, but is the statement clear? Any questions regarding the statement of the theorem? Right, so there is this very nice distribution. So it basically says that you take a finite irreducible aperiodic Markov chain, and then you just as the Markov chain evolves, which is basically like doing a random walk, it doesn't matter where you start out from at the end, right? When you run it for sufficiently long time, we don't know how that sufficiently long time is, but if as you run it longer and longer, it will go towards one limiting distribution, right? It converges towards that limiting distribution, irrespective of where you start out from. Very strong. It's a very strong theorem that way. Right? Any questions regarding the statement of this theorem? We will not spend time trying to prove this, right? We don't really care so much about the theory of Markov chains for now. Right? We'll just see what its implications are. Any questions? Okay. So then let's see what are some of its implications. So in Markov chain, one of the crucial questions that two important questions that people are interested in. Right? So the two important questions. The first one is, what is the stationary distribution? For a given Markov chain. Right? Suppose you're given a Markov chain which is capturing something. What is its stationary distribution? Right? You know whether a stationary distribution exists or not because you just need to check whether the Markov chain has certain properties. Right? It needs to be, in general, it is. So what I wrote is only for a finite case, but this theorem is true for even for more general case. Right? I'm not defining it. I'm not stating it for now, but the statement is true even for Markov chains that are not finite. Right? There are conditions which will imply the existence of stationary distributions. So one question is, suppose you know that there is a stationary distribution. How do you find it? What is the stationary distribution? Right? That is one important question. The second question is, how long should you perform a random walk before you are close to the stationary distribution? Right? You know there is a stationary distribution, which in the limit is this is what characterizes the behavior of the Markov chain. But then how long do you actually have to run this do this random walk before you hit that because before you come close to that stationary distribution? Right? These are the two questions that are very important when you study any Markov chain. Right? So let's start with a graph. Right? Let's look at a random walk. Right? This time not on that. So we saw two random walks on specific graphs. We look at random walks on an arbitrary graph and try to understand its properties. Okay, and using that, we will also come up with an algorithm for a well-known question that you have probably seen in many different places. Right? A very important algorithmic question also. So let's look at random walks on undirected graphs. Okay. So what do you mean by a random walk on an undirected graph? So you have an undirected graph G, right? So it's basically a bunch of vertices and a bunch of edges, right? The edges are undirected, right? Correct. Now, what is a random walk on such a graph? So what you do is, so every vertex V has a degree d of V, right? So now one step of the random walk is as follows. Right? One step of the random walk, what you do is you start, if you're in vertex V, right, with probability 1 over d of V, go to neighbor U. Right? So V has d of V neighbors, right? V has d of V vertices to which it is connected. Right? Choose one of those vertices uniformly at random, right? That is what it means to say that you choose it with probability 1 over dv, right? You choose one of those vertices uniformly at random and then you move to that vertex. You keep doing this, right? For instance, if you are here, right, you choose this edge with probability 1 over 3, this with 1 over 3, this with 1 over 3, right? And if you end up here, then you choose this edge here with 1 over 2 and this edge here with 1 over 2. Right? So for instance, you can keep just going back and forth on one edge also. And once you are here, you have probability 1 over 3 of going here, 1 over 3 of going forward, and 1 over 3 of taking this edge. At every step, you're moving forward. You're moving to some other vertex. And the probability that you go to that vertex is 1 divided by the degree of the vertex. Right? So this is what is a random walk on an undirected graph. Okay. Is this clear? Is this notion of this random walk on an undirected graph clear? Any questions so far? So, what sort of, is this a Markov chain? Right. So initially you had a directed graph. Here you have an undirected graph. Is this a Markov chain? If so, what is its state space and what is the corresponding graph? Right. There is a directed graph with the corresponding to that Markov chain and its state space. So if it's a Markov chain, what is the directed graph associated with it? Can someone tell me? Right, let's name these vertices also. Let's name these as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What is the graph corresponding to the Markov chain? Is it the same graph or is it some other graph? It's almost the same graph, right? So you have something like these three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You have these 5 vertices. And then what you do is, so that it is a directed graph corresponding to the Markov chain, what you have is you put directed edge for each of the undirected edge, right? So if this is say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you put this and then you put the corresponding, right? So for 2 and 4 is connected. So you have a directed edge this way and this way. Similarly, 1 and 3 is connected. So you have something like this, right? So this is the graph corresponding to the Markov chain, right? And each edge is now the same. These directed edge has some probability, right? So from 1 to 2, you have probability 1 over 3. 1 to 3, you have 1 over 3. 1 to 5, you have 1 over 3, and so on. Right? So a random walk on this graph corresponds to a random walk on this, this evolution of the Markov chain where the state space graph looks like this, right? So the first question is this, so right, so now you want to know whether there are stationary distributions, right? So you know that certain Markov chains, if it has certain nice properties, there are stationary distributions. It is finite for sure, right? The Markov chain is finite. Is it irreducible? Is the Markov chain corresponding to the random walk on an undirected graph irreducible? Or when is it irreducible? If it is not, when will it be irreducible? So is the chain irreducible? Is the chain irreducible? What do you think? When will the chain be irreducible for this Markov chain? When will this Markov chain be irreducible? What property should the graph have so that the Markov chain is irreducible? For the Markov chain to be irreducible, you want this graph to be strongly connected, right? This must be strongly connected. So what can you say about the original graph? If this graph is strongly connected, when will this graph be strongly connected? It's only when the original graph is actually connected, right? So this chain is irreducible if your graph is connected. Right? Is the chain aperiodic? Is this Markov chain aperiodic? Or when will it be aperiodic? Can you think of a graph who's such that, can you think of an undirected graph where if you perform a random walk, the Markov chain will be periodic? An example of an undirected graph, where if you perform a random walk, the Markov chain is periodic. What is an example? Any guesses?
P2.
P2 is basically a path, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, so that will be okay. P2 is periodics. Yeah, very good. Right. So in general, what can you say about G? P2 is definitely the case. So what Raghu is saying is this graph, right? So you have this graph here. This is G, and the corresponding Markov chain is what we already drew, right? This is the one where you have 1 on both the edges. Right? This is the corresponding graph, the directed graph corresponding to the Markov chain. Can you generalize this a little bit more? Can you extend this? What other property might, right? P2 is definitely the case. Right? In fact, it turns out that it is aperiodic if and only if the graph is bipartite. Okay. So if the graph is bipartite, then you know that each time you want to get back to one vertex, you will have to spend some even number of steps, right? So it turns out that you can actually show that if you take the random walk on an undirected graph, then that Markov chain is periodic if and only if the graph is bipartite. So I should write non-bipartite. Right? So the random walk on an undirected graph is an aperiodic Markov chain if and only if the graph is non-bipartite. Right? So it turns out that if you have a connected non-bipartite graph, then the random walk converges to a stationary distribution. Right? And we will see what the stationary distribution is, right? And we will then use the properties of these random walk, the stationary distribution, and so on to actually come up with a very simple algorithm for connectivity. And the algorithm is very simple to state. It's just a one-line statement. What you do is you just perform a random walk for some n to the 3 steps, right? If you have an n vertex graph, perform a random walk for n cube steps. Then with high probability, you will actually, if the graph is connected, if there is a path from S to T, then you will see it. Right. So in particular, so not right. So you will check. You will be able to. Sorry. So if you say connected graph, it's already there. But if you do this random walk, then you will have visited every vertex and you will actually find the path from S to T also. Right. You will hit T. Right. Instead of checking whether there is a path or not, you just perform a random walk, and then you say that if you have spent sufficient amount of time, and if you have not seen the vertex, then the graph is actually not connected. Because if the graph were connected, then you would actually hit that vertex within a certain number of steps. Okay. It's a very simple algorithm, right? You don't need to do any BFS or DFS. Just do this random walk on the graph. If the graph is indeed connected, then within 2 n cube steps, and if the graph is non-bipartite, then within 2 n cube steps, you will actually hit the vertex that you're searching for. In fact, you will hit all the vertices. Okay, so that is something that we are going to analyze. We'll look at this very simple algorithm and we'll analyze this algorithm. Right? We will use properties of Markov chains. We'll also look at the limiting distributions for random walk on Markov chains to analyze this algorithm. Right? The nice property of this algorithm is that it's highly space efficient. Right? Typical BFS or DFS will require you to store a big queue or a stack, right, with different IDs so that you can go and look back on what you have visited and then continue the search. Whereas the random walk algorithm is highly space efficient. You just need to store the current vertex you are on. You can just completely forget where you came from. Each step, you just store the vertex you're currently in. You choose a vertex uniformly at random and then go to that vertex and forget where you came from. Keep doing this and see whether after n cube steps you have seen the vertex T. So you want to know whether there's a path from S to T. Start a random walk from S. See after n cube steps whether you have seen T or not. If you have not, then you say that the graph is not connected. Otherwise, you say it's connected. And what we're going to do next is to actually analyze this randomized algorithm. Okay, it's a very simple random walk based algorithm, and we'll need these properties of Markov chains that we have seen so far. Okay, so that's in the next class. So we'll stop for now, okay, and we'll continue on Wednesday. Yeah. Any questions? So I haven't uploaded the video for for Thursday's lecture that I will do. I intended to record a lecture, but then again, there were some issues with at my end, some technical issues with my laptop, so it didn't work, and so I didn't do it. So I'll upload the Thursday's lecture and this one as well by tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay. Any questions regarding today's lecture? Yeah. If not, I think, we are done. Yeah. Thank you. We'll meet on Wednesday.